Hello fam, welcome to the African Diaspora News Channel. I am Wengil Zelalem bringing you this report. So you might have seen this picture of a doctor, a young black man. His name is Dr. Matthew. He is 28, and this picture that he posted on Instagram went viral. The picture was, he puts a side-by-side picture of himself. One, he's wearing an attire of his profession. He's a doctor, so he was wearing his scrubs, and on the other, he was wearing his hoodie. So the one with him wearing a scrub, he said, "Hero with a knife, hated in a hoodie." So this picture went viral and it was everywhere and people were sharing it, and he had an interview with people.com and he gave a few answers. This is what he said.
Dr. Matthew Igbeneghu is a Dallas-based orthopedic surgeon completing his residency at a medical practice, a first-generation graduate of Texas A&M University and the University of Texas Medical Branch. He is only 28 years old and he had an interview with people.com. He described why he posted that picture that went viral. In the interview, Dr. Matthew says, "I always think about who I share my space with. It's scary to be me. I'm fearful of the system. I'm fearful that if I speak too honestly or dress a certain way, the system won't allow me to pass. So in turn, I play the game and they win, which is unfortunate. I've had so many experiences of being profiled for what you wear, what you look like, that I try not to remember them because I don't want to. I've been so desensitized to the point where if I need to correct people, I do. Otherwise, I just assume that's what they think and I'm going to have to do my thing to prove them wrong." At Texas A&M, I initially wasn't able to get into their biomedical engineering program, so I worked hard to get good grades in the first semester to make it in the next one. I ended up having a 3.9 GPA. I went to the advisor's office, sat down, and before I even told her anything about my road, where I come from, what I've accomplished, or where I want to go, she started off with a message that not many people make it. It's very competitive and there are only 6 spots this year. I was just a naive freshman. I didn't know how things worked, but I remember leaving that meeting discouraged and upset because I realized that I knew I was qualified on paper and did not know why the advisor was so against it. She didn't look down at my papers. She didn't review my transcript. All she had in front of her was me. As I progressed to medical school, there were a number of times where I wore professional clothing or scrubs on an aeroplane, and the level of respect that I received was much different than when I wore just gray shorts. I've also experienced plenty of times where in the hospital in my attire, I'm assumed to be medical transport, even though my badge says medical doctor. In this day and society, there's a larger contrast between how I'm treated if I'm wearing a certain attire. Now I don't fly on a plane without professional clothing or a proper attire because of the level of treatment. The way that people look at me, the pronouns that people use, is just different. It shows that many people are not treated in a humane fashion, and the solution is not for us to wear scrubs or suits all the time because our counterparts don't have to do that. The humanity of black people in America has not been addressed or recognized as equal. Therefore, the treatment of our lives is different, and therefore the consequences of our lives being lost is not the same magnitude as someone else, which is wrong. Breonna Taylor was just like me. She worked in healthcare, and even though we seem to be making some strides, that could have been me. No matter what my profession is, the fact is I look this way, so I'm at risk. With my Instagram photo, the hope was to challenge the viewer to ask themselves, why is the life of this one more important than the other? You can respect someone in medicine by all means, but you have to understand it does not make me more human or more worthy of life or have more value than someone else. I always wondered how my coworkers view me outside of being a doctor, and if they saw me on the road in my hoodie, what would they say? Now it's at that point where I walk around and people recognize me at the hospital for my post. It's cool, but it's also kind of scary because I have more of a light on me, a light that says this is part of me and who I am. I like to play basketball. This is just what I wear. It's comfortable. I'm curious which way their mind has gone now, but it's out of my hands and that's scary. I understand that I'm in a position of leadership. These scrubs remind me that not everybody, even though they embody the capability, do not have the opportunity to be where I am right now. Many of the people who look like me do not even pursue the career that I am in because they've never seen someone like me in this position. I realize that I have more responsibility to conduct myself properly. Just because the system is made to be used against me, I don't want to embody that towards everybody because not everybody thinks that way. I always try my best to look at those who are misinformed with compassion because some people just don't have the right exposure, the right influence around them to have a healthy worldview or view of other humans. If you have an opportunity to speak, stand up for what is right. Even though it's frustrating as heck and it happens all the time, my goal is to encourage them to move towards the love of their fellow neighbor, whoever that is and whatever they look like, and towards being more loving, because that love will multiply.
He explained why he wanted to do that. He wanted to create awareness, and he told his story how whenever he does not wear the scrub, he's on an aeroplane or he's outside, the way he's treated is very different. People are scared of him. He doesn't get the same treatment, but the minute he goes out wearing his scrub, he is respected all of a sudden. His life matters. And I really love the point that he made about everybody's life should matter. I mean, yes, respect a doctor, the profession, but that doesn't mean that my life is worth more than the other black guy just because I am a doctor. My life is not more worth it. It's the same. A life is a life. And I love that he mentioned that, because he said, okay, me, I'm wearing a scrub and I can maybe avoid those mistreatments and being scared for my life. But how about my brothers out there? How about other black men, other black women that don't have that shield from the world that they can wear, and people are like, oh, okay, he's a doctor, let me respect it. Let me give respect to him. So imagine how the rest of the society, the community is living. If this guy is afraid for his life, he has to wear his scrub all the time. He even said in the hospital when he wears his scrub, sometimes people, he didn't even say sometimes, I'm assuming it's most of the time, before this picture went viral, people used to think, okay, you're the driver, right? And even though he clearly has an ID that says he's a doctor, so they just assume he's a driver. And it's really unfortunate that this guy has to wear his scrub all the time, even when he doesn't need it, even when he's not performing anything on a patient. He has to wear it just to protect himself, just to get that respect, just to get that pass, and society doesn't mistreat him as a black man, a black man in a hoodie. And I found that really sad, because how many doctors are there that can wear their scrubs and maybe shield themselves? How many black men are just walking around with their hoodie and people are just mistreating them left and right, and they're facing discrimination, and this is so not fair. And he also said his white peers, his colleagues, don't face that, so why should he have to go through that? And that's a really great point. Why? But unfortunately, he said that's the reality of it, and he has to do that. And that is exactly why he made this point to post that he wanted people to see, he wanted his colleagues to understand what he goes through. And he says some of his colleagues were surprised. They're like, really, this is what you go through? And some people are just ignorant. Some people just don't understand, because you know they're not walking in your shoes. And he helped them understand, and he helped them see that me and you, even though we have the same profession, we are doing the same work, I am not treated the same way that you are treated. I am fearing for my life. And he brought them to be, he made them an ally to the black community, because they saw that, and they could have never understood what a black man or a black woman goes through. And it really saddened me when he mentioned Breonna Taylor. He said she was in the medical profession too, but look at her. So what makes me safe? And that's a good question that he asked. And the other thing I really appreciated about the young man, first of all, he's 28 years old. 28, and he's a doctor. That is one young man that can be a good role model to young boys, young girls out there. So one, he's young. Secondly, he says he feels more pressure now to be a good role model to the next generation, because he knows that he represents those black kids, and there are not many people he looked up to when choosing this profession. But fortunately now he can be a symbol, he can be an inspiration to those young kids, and he wants to do the best that he can. That's what he said during the interview, for him to be a great role model to those kids. And I loved that. I love that he's thinking about the future kids when he's only 28 himself. Well done, young man. We're really proud of you. I believe what he did is really awesome. He created awareness, and also he brought in allies that can help in the future. And also he is a hero to the kids. He is an inspiration, a role model to young kids out there that don't think it can be done, because he was discouraged when he went to apply, when he had a 3.9 GPA from 4. That's a really great point, and he clearly, he is book smart, at least we can say that. And the lady didn't even look at it, and she just looked at him and said, you know, there's not a lot of spots, and this kind of things need to be scraped off, and people need to look into the person's ability, capability. Is he able to do that? Is he smart enough? Does he have the grades? Is he capable? That's all you need to know. Why you should not be discouraging him just because he's black. Look at his paper. Is he capable? If he is not, there's something called exam. You can text them. There's internship. So if this guy was discouraged just because that lady told him that, he would not be in the place that he is right now, inspiring so many. And I am thankful for his courage and his strength. And I just wanted to appreciate this guy, take this moment to appreciate this guy and show the world what he actually did for the community. Anyways, guys, do let us know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are about this young man. And I will see you on the next one. Bye.